iOS 15, in my opinion, was the star of the show of yesterday's keynote. Everything else was somewhat interesting, but for the most part, this is where I think the most day-to-day differences will be noticed, so I have now super officially and totally legally installed the developer beta on my primary device, the 12 mini, and after using it for the past couple hours, I have some initial impressions to discuss. Let's begin. First of all, the wallpaper is wonderful and iconic. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Besides that point, there's actually a bunch of features that I've noticed on day one that I'm already in love with and appreciating greatly, probably a few hot takes mixed in there. But simultaneously, there's also a bunch of features that I think are really cool and I'm really excited for, but are currently not working on the developer beta for me. So I thought I'd first talk about the ones I do notice and can utilize. So for one, I'm just going to start with the most noticeable difference to me. It's the redesigned Safari. I could see a lot of people not liking this, and because it's so different and takes such a drastic, 180-degree turn in terms of where the tabs icon is, where the URL is, it's going to be a learning curve for a lot of people out there. But after using it for a while, I'm actually loving it because I don't have that many work apps on my phone because I take this, outside of the office and it's easy to get distracted. So Twitter or Creator Studio or Instagram, none of those apps I keep stored on my phone, which means to keep up to date with the news, I actually use Safari quite a bit directly off of my phone, and the fact that you can now switch between tabs so seamlessly just by swiping alongside the bottom, and it's basically like navigating different apps with the home bar, except now you're navigating different tabs. It's also so much easier, especially for one-handed users, to just tap the URL, the keyboard pops right up, and you can select exactly what you want to look up, and having the tabs icon be right in the bottom right corner is extremely convenient, and I'll admit, yeah, it's still taking me a little bit of getting used to, because sometimes when I open Safari, I still want to instantly tap the top because that's where I'm used to the search bar being. This is something I didn't realize could be improved so drastically, because now that they have moved it, it's so much easier to reach and it's so much easier to switch between tabs than it was before. And because it's so different, like I said, I bet a lot of people aren't gonna like this, and once iOS 15 launches in the fall for everyone, I bet a bunch of people are gonna get angry. Hopefully Apple maybe makes it an option to go back to the old method, because I could see a lot of people still preferring that. But for my own personal reasons, I've just completely fallen in love with the redesigned Safari application, simply because of how easy it is to manage tabs, and because I use that app a lot, it's something I very much appreciate, and I'm very thankful that it's working reliably on the first developer beta. The other thing I notice very regularly, because this is a situation I ran into a lot, was the updates to messages. I don't care so much about the whole memories feature of like, hey, Photos app is going to instantly compile a bunch of photos that have been texted to you, but what I'm more interested in is that when someone texts you a bunch of pictures, it doesn't create like this giant wall of texts that you have to scroll through. The fact that it just gives you a nice little library for you to swipe through, and there's a little option above those to just see all of the photos laid out at once. It's so much cleaner. It makes our iMessage threads a lot easier to read, and that's something that happens to me all the time. Like constantly people will be like, hey, I'm gonna text you all these pictures from this hike or from this event, and it instantly fills up the thread. And the fact that it's so clean and so simple to swipe through them now, I love that. I use it all the time, and it's already working today, so I very much appreciate it. Something I didn't have on my iOS 15 wish list, but thankfully Apple thought of it. Facebook Messenger was also doing it better than iMessage in my opinion, because it would just show you a grid of all the pictures and you could just tap which one you wanted to blow up. But in my opinion, this is even better than that, because you can actually see each individual picture really well and just swipe through the ones you care for or open them all up. Thank you, Apple. Messages is the superior platform. Don't at me. The other thing I noticed certainly on day one, and I was actually very impressed by, was the updated weather app. You can tell Apple's purchase of Dark Sky is going directly into iOS 15, because there's a whole lot more data now in there, whether it be the temperature map or the UV index map or the air quality map, being able to just go outside your area and see what the other temperatures are looking like, having all of these individual little widgets widgets for the sunsets, precipitation, the wind speed, and the direction of that wind speed and everything. It's very clean, and the animations they brought to the weather app are gorgeous and beautiful, and because it's free and there's no ads, I do use the weather app on my iPhone pretty regularly, and I'm very happy with the design changes they made for it, because it feels like all of that crap the weatherman tries to brag about, like only they have this precipitation information. Now I can just pull it up on my phone and be like, yeah, I can see all that stuff in real time, and it'll tell me like minutes before it starts raining. So who needs you, weatherman? I have iOS 15. I'll also give some credit to the redesigned messages notifications. I don't know why it's never occurred to me, but it does actually feel somewhat unnatural that every time I get an iMessage text from someone, it doesn't really show their face or their picture, you know? It just kind of shows the messages icon and then their name, which that's not intuitive. We have pixels. We have displays now. We should be able to just see the face. That's how we should identify people. And now, since I've been getting text messages on iOS 15, notifications look a whole lot cleaner. I love the way they stack them together, and I love the way I can see someone's face as soon as they text me. That just feels so much more natural, and it's one of those things I didn't think I would care much about until I started having it. It's a UI improvement, but it's one that I notice quite regularly because I get a lot of texts from people. That's like my go-to use for this thing, and now being able to just have a much cleaner animation and being able to see their face whenever they send me a text, that just looks awesome. I dig it, and I hope Apple does that with the rest of the ecosystem, especially the Apple Watch. I wouldn't mind if instead of just a big green iMessage icon whenever you get a text, it would just be the person who's contacting you's face. Maybe the little green message circle in the bottom corner. But I do have watchOS 8, but the only reason I wanted to get the beta was because I wanted to try the portrait mode watch face, and it doesn't appear to be there yet. So that's a bit frustrating. Anyway, the Maps update was also really interesting. I was driving to a new place I'd never been for yesterday, and while I don't have the intricate map data that Apple was bragging about having in like San Francisco and stuff, I already do notice how simple it is to switch between like looking at the entire journey or doing turn-by-turn directions and just having one icon for do you want sound or do you not want sound. It looks cleaner, and the way the camera follows where the little arrowhead navigates as you drive. So I appreciate the Maps update, but there's also a couple other things that I'm really excited to try out that don't appear to be quite ready yet. So for one, something I kind of glossed over in yesterday's video that I think is really important, Apple ID. And no, not like your Apple account. I'm talking about Apple now saying you'll be able to add your driver's license to the Wallet app. This is something I've been asking for years. I just didn't know exactly how possible it was, but after looking it up yesterday, it does look like many states in the US are looking into having digital driver's licenses in the future, and this will not just be essentially holding up a picture of your driver's license or your ID, and the officer looks at the picture and goes, okay, that's your information. No, this should actually end up being somewhat like a transit card, or even more like a credit card, because you'll be able to activate the driver's license via Face ID, and it'll warn you all the information it's going to give if you get pulled over or if you're at an airport and they want to check your ID. And you should be able to just tap your phone against some kind of NFC reader that the officer or the airport may have, and then they register all of your information that way. It's currently not legal, and also probably because it's currently not legal, it's not present in the Wallet app. Even if it wasn't legal, I was really interested in just kind of adding my driver's license into the Wallet app just so that it could be there and I could feel like, hey, I got my whole wallet right in here. But I love the idea of traveling more minimally and carrying less and less things on me directly. So if California passes that law by the end of this year and they do allow us to have our driver's licenses built into our phone, first of all, just make sure you have a charger in your car, because it now becomes your responsibility to provide your driver's license to the officer. You're not going to be able to get away with, okay, let me see some ID. Well, the ID is on my phone, and my phone is dead right now. If you're not carrying around your physical driver's license and you're relying on it to be on your phone and then your phone dies, that responsibility falls on you. That instantly means you are now driving around without a license, which is not legal. So just make sure there's a charger in the car. Most people, I think, do have some kind of phone charger equipped with them. If your car is too old, just bring a battery pack just in case. But overall, I'm willing to take that responsibility because it theoretically means I could leave my wallet at home, not have to bring my driver's license with me wherever I go, because it'll just be baked into here, and I can use Apple Pay at the majority of places I go to. So overall, I'm for this ultra minimalist future, but that feature's not ready yet. So hopefully it is later this year. The other big updates that I thought were kind of stealing the show, probably the most big announcements Apple made were directly with FaceTime. We've been asking for Apple to allow us to, you know, share our screen via FaceTime for so long, and we got that and SharePlay, which all sounds amazing, being able to listen to music or watch movies with people during the FaceTime call. And every time I try to start or answer a call with FaceTime on my phone, the app instantly crashes and I can't even close the application. It does not work at all. I cannot see the other person I'm talking to. They can see me, which I guess, you know, that's kind of a privacy concern, but simultaneously, this is a developer beta. Install dev betas at your own risk. So if you were hoping to demonstrate FaceTime with the dev beta and that's what you were excited for, some other YouTubers may be having it work flawlessly for them. Just keep in mind, I'm gonna go on the record and say it's not working at all. Every time I try to start a call, it just freezes up, okay? It's not working at all, and I would love to try out the new grid view. I want to try out portrait mode via FaceTime. I want to try out the different microphone isolation modes. I'm sure those features will get more ironed out in future updates, and by the fall, it will probably be pretty stable and reliable, but currently not working too well for me, so I can't demonstrate FaceTime for you at this point, but I would certainly like to, and I like that we can send FaceTime links to people now, even on Android and Windows. That's the kind of openness that I was not expecting Apple to have via FaceTime, but even when Steve Jobs initially introduced it, they wanted it to be kind of an open API, but it didn't really go through that way. Now it seems like they're kind of following through on that original vision. So overall, I'm sure there's a ton more features in iOS 15 that you guys appreciate. The point of this video wasn't to go into every single change, but mainly I just wanted to keep you guys posted on what I appreciate, primarily what's standing out to me within the first day, and I would love to hear what you guys think is an underrated update from iOS 15 that we were not expecting. What are not enough people talking about? What should I try that I haven't done yet? Feel free to let me know. This is your Apple Shape here. I'll see you guys in the next one.